Hi, I'm Diane Silverman from Keller Williams Realty, and this is the Real Estate Joke of the Week. And this week we have a true story. When I was growing up, my mother was the district leader for the Democratic Committee, and I was only 5 years old when she put me to work giving out flyers for the election. I took my job very seriously. The weight of the world, the future of democracy was on my shoulders. So I went door to door putting flyers in people's mailboxes. Putting flyers in people's mailboxes is a federal offense, but I didn't know that. I was 5. I got to one house and I was almost at the front door, focused on the mailbox. And when I realized that there was an old lady working in her garden, I was right next to her when I finally saw her. And I was so flustered that I just shoved the flyer in her face and I said, "It's for the election." And I'll never forget what she said. She gave the flyer back to me and she said, "Oh, I'm too old to vote." I was mortified. I didn't know that there was such a thing as being too old to vote. I mean, I knew that there was such a thing as being too young to vote because I couldn't vote. I was only 5, but I didn't know that being too old to vote was a thing. Well, I'm embarrassed to admit that it took me 10 years before I realized that being too old to vote is not a thing. High school, social studies class, the teacher is talking about the minimum voting age, and then I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. What's the maximum voting age? And he never said anything. And then that's when I realized that that old lady was crazy. Being too old to vote is not a thing. Well, I'm even more embarrassed to admit that it took me decades to figure out what the situation was. That old lady didn't mean that she was too old to be allowed to vote. She meant that she was too old to be bothered to vote. And that's a tragedy. Tomorrow is election day. Don't think that you're too old to be bothered to vote. Don't think that you're too busy to be bothered to vote, or too apathetic to be bothered to vote, or too whatever to be bothered to vote. Just vote. I'll see you next week.